Hello, guys. This is Garrett Durham with discussion number two for this week here in America's Christian Heritage Fall 2020. This week's discussion topic is denominational diversity. The denomination that I chose, which I like the idea of it not picking one that you don't belong to. I chose the Methodist Church or Methodism. This is a denomination and a subject about like religious history and not just American history, but like I said, religious history that I've always been really interested in and thought a lot about, but I didn't know a whole lot about. Um, After reading Mark Noll's book, or at least as much as we have as of yet, um, this is the denomination that, like I said, I'm not as aware of. And, I don't know a whole lot about as much as I do the others. So that's the reason I picked this one. I always found it kind of interesting. I didn't know any of the origins of Methodism, so I was eager to find out and research it even deeper than we have read so far to do this discussion post. Um, Methodism, or the Methodist movement, is a group of historically related denominations, primarily known as Methodists nowadays, um, that derived all their teaching and beliefs from their founder, John Wesley, as we've come to learn and read in our readings. Uh, Most commonly known among the Methodists are George Whitefield, which I did my last video on, of Frank Lambert's article, and we've read so much about, and Charles Wesley. This is primarily um, originated as a revival movement inside the Church of England during or involved with the Church of England during the First Great Awakening. After this, it resorted to its own denomination after the passing of its founder, John Wesley. Um, Methodism grew rapidly as a result of the Great Awakening from leaders such as George Whitefield and others in the Wesleyan theology, and people teaching that and justification by faith alone and things like that we'll get to in just a second. During the 1730s and 1740s, in the Great Awakening period, the First Great Awakening period, Methodism grew rapidly and saw many converts and missionaries roam the lands to win more souls for the kingdom of God. So it's very interesting. In its early days, Methodism's main teaching consisted of about 3 points. Like I said, people are all by nature dead in sin, quote unquote. They are justified by faith alone. And then number 3, faith produces inward and outward holiness. So basically, they taught you when you did get saved, and this is a very modern Protestant belief, is that when you did get saved or do get saved, then inside and out, you're going to then exude or give God all the glory and then glorify God in everything you do, public and in private. Very interesting. But what appeals to me about the history of Methodism is the rigorous missionary work that was conducted by many of its men who came over from England to the colonies. Uh, Many of these rode horses or walked throughout the early American colonies more than almost anyone else in early United States history. On these missionaries, one of the most interesting that I found was Francis Asbury. And apart from John Wesley and George Whitefield, Asbury is one of the greatest Protestant evangelist ever to live. Asbury, a little background about him, he grew up to parents who were very devout followers of John Wesley's, the founder of the Methodist Church. They were devout followers of his teachings, life and teachings. Um, when he was 13, I think he was called into ministry in 1771. He came over to the United States to lead only the four Methodist missionaries already here to try to win and convert a lot of the colonists. Um, so he came over, was very successful, but of course he encountered, like many other missionaries of other denominations, he encountered difficulty in not just weathered conditions, but also people trying to harm him, I'm sure. But nonetheless, in spite of all this, he did manage to successfully witness to many people, and Methodism grew rapidly because of his effort. Mark Noll in our book even stated that Asbury, this is what really struck me, probably rode on horseback or walked more land in early America than anyone else did in United States history. So it shows really the devout effort and the determination of him to win souls for the church, and the rapid growth that the church went through in the early to mid 18th century. Overall, in conclusion, it's just because of the efforts by Asbury, Whitefield, and Wesley and others that the Methodism has attracted so many followers, starting with the 18th century. Nowadays, the Methodist Church claims over 80 million members worldwide, and I found all this interesting, especially the early history of the church, the Methodist Church, and how it grew to what it is today, and it's definitely a big part of America's Christian heritage. Thank you very much.